Welcome to Signature TV News. I'm Charles Pius. In the headlines, Federal High Court dismisses ₦1 billion suit filed by Nnamdi Kanu against the Nigerian government. NAFDAC seals 100 shops in the Enugu market over alleged sale of fake and adulterated alcoholic beverages. On the foreign scene, South Africans expressed mixed reactions over the announcement of a new cabinet by President Cyril Ramaphosa. And on the foreign scene, Myanmar military arrests 11 persons, including a Japanese citizen, for inflating rice prices. Details in a moment. A federal high court Abuja on Monday dismissed a ₦1 billion suit filed by Nnamdi Kanu, detained leader of the indigenous people of Biafra IPOB, against the federal government and Department of State Services DSS. Justice James Omotosho, in a judgment, held that Kanu failed to provide credible evidence to back his alleged violation of his fundamental rights by the defendants. Justice Omotosho held that the claims that Kanu was denied unhindered access to his lawyers by DSS operatives and that the officials eavesdropped on his conversations with his lawyers in the preparations of his defense could not be established. The IPOB leader, through his lawyer, Aloy Ejimako, had sued the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the Attorney General of the Federation, and the DSS and its DG as respondents in the case. In the originating summons, Kanu had sought a declaration that the respondent acts of forcible seizure and photocopying of confidential legal documents pertaining to facilitating the preparation of his defense, which were brought to him at the respondent's detention facility by his lawyers, amounted to denial of his rights to be defended by legal practitioners of his own choice. He also sought, among other reliefs, a declaration that the respondent's act of preventing his counsel from taking notes of details of counsel's professional discussions and consultations with him at the DSS detention was unlawful. The National Agency for Food, Drug and Administration Control, NAFDAC, has shut down about 100 shops in the Wete Main Market, Enugu, for allegedly dealing in suspected fake alcoholic beverages. The Southeast Zone Director of NAFDAC, Martins Eluyemade, said on Monday that the agency also seized a truckload of adulterated products and arrested 4 traders in the process. Eluyemade noted that the raid was in furtherance of the NAFDAC's mandate of safeguarding the health of the nation and ridding the Southeast of unwholesome, substandard, fake and adulterated products. He added that the intensive operation was with active collaboration with the police, Department of State Services, and the Nigerian Army, which deployed their personnel for the raid. He said the suspects were already in custody and would be charged to court after ongoing investigation. The member representing Ikeja Federal Constituency of Lagos State in the House of Representatives, James Faleke, has urged Nigerians to treat the outbreak of cholera in some parts of the country with the same level of seriousness that they handled the COVID-19 pandemic. Faleke, who made the call in a media chat in Lagos on Monday, said Nigerians should do more to curb the cholera outbreak and ensure that their environment is clean at all times. He further advised people to be more careful with what they eat and drink to check the growing deaths from the present outbreak. The legislator, who observed that the country should not be recording such avoidable deaths from cholera at this modern age, also warned against the use of fake products in treatment. The Nigerian Center for Disease Control recently reported 53 deaths from cholera outbreak in the country and activated the National Emergency Operations Center for the disease. Meanwhile, the Lagos State government says it is receiving additional support from the World Health Organization, WHO, as it battles an outbreak of cholera at the Kirikiri Correctional Center. A statement by the Lagos State Commissioner for Health, Akin Abayomi, said 25 cases of severe gastroenteritis caused by cholera occurred at Kirikiri Medium Correctional Center, and that an urgent medical and environmental intervention measures have been implemented with success. He said the government was able to supply the facility with intravenous fluids, infection prevention and other health consumables, while the World Health Organization donated 10,000 doses of pharmaceuticals which have been delivered to the center to support prison health facilities for about 3,200 inmates. Abayomi noted that the reduction in new daily cases and the absence of new deaths indicated that the interventions are bearing dividends and that residents are adhering to public health information and advice on safety measures and the need for early presentation to health facilities when symptoms develop. The Commissioner emphasized the need for continued vigilance and adherence to public health precautionary measures by taking personal responsibility for consuming safe foods and beverages and ensuring good personal hygiene. The Life in My City Art Festival has organized a 2-day workshop for children living with disability in the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. The workshop, which was put together to guide, train, and enlighten them on various arts of work, was held at the Thought Pyramid Art Center, Wuse, Abuja. Signature TV correspondent Nasiru Usman reports.
Life in My City Art Festival was established in 2007 and became an initiative in 2012. It serves as an annual celebration of creativity featuring young talents in the Nigerian art landscape. LIMCAF is the biggest youth art event in Nigeria, featuring visual art competition, festival lecture, school children's and art teachers workshop. This is the first time LIMCAF will be organizing a workshop for children with special needs in the nation's capital.
We are trying to include those who are special, those who didn't choose to be born with any physical challenge, but they found themselves in that category. Those who feel that they may be rejected or neglected by society. But through art, we want to encourage them and say that they are one of us. So it's an inclusive workshop for them to harness those skills that are innate, that are within them, that they may have but may not have been given the opportunity to bring to limelight. So that's what this is about.
The art director, Ayo Adewumi, says the workshop will expose the children to positive occurrences in their environment and give them opportunities to contribute to the society. He urged the federal and state governments as well as private organizations to support the initiative.
We feel that you are creating opportunity for them to be busy with something. And also their parents can also be happy that they can do something on their own. And if they follow it up, they can become professionals. And therefore, they can be creating art and be selling and make a living for themselves. So they are not completely useless as the society wants us to imagine they are.
The workshop started with drawing and painting on canvas, while the second day featured tie and dye practical class. Some of the teachers who spoke with Signature TV expressed joy seeing the students creating artistic works with their cognitive skills.
Before now, some of them were, we could not really discover, but they were able to see some strengths in these children, and then it gave them the ability to make use of their cognitive skills. They were able to think, they were able to do things on their own, just looking at a picture, and they were able to put it down. It's a really good one for the children.
Like one of the child that are autistic and have a cerebral palsy, most times he find it difficult coordinating herself and doing something. But I was so happy and excited when I saw her looking at the next person, looking at the other person, looking at her doing something, and she wants to do something.
Some of the students expressed their joy for the opportunity to participate in the art workshop.
Worst thing, time well, stove, and piazza, time well, time.
Color the top to the half square, then this side is remaining white, then we color this side red, a little bit of red here, then we color carry yellow again, color to this side to make the sunset, then we carry black to color this side.
Okay, are you happy to be here today?
Yeah.
6 schools participated in the workshop. At the end of the workshop, students were presented with artistic materials and certificate of participation. The 2-day workshop was sponsored by MTN and Ford Foundation. From Abuja, Nasir Usman for Signature TV News.
The NNPC Retail Limited says it has launched an investigation into a recent video clip on social media concerning its fuel pump attendants coercing customers to purchase lubricant as a condition for purchasing fuel. The managing director of NNPC Retail Limited, Hub Stockman, who made this known in a statement on Sunday, assured that this incident would be thoroughly investigated and appropriate disciplinary action taken against the culprits. In the said video, customers were coerced to purchase lubricants or engine oil as a prerequisite for purchasing or dispensing premium motor spirits or petrol by an attendant who alleged that the directive came from NNPC Retail Management. Stokeman said the allegation is entirely false and does not represent the company's customer service charter, saying that customers were not obligated to purchase lubricants or engine oil or other products as a precursor to buying PMS at all NNPC retail filling stations. He said the NNPC Retail Limited was dedicated to providing clear, transparent and quality service to all its customers, guaranteeing that their needs were met without any recourse to unnecessary conditionalities. He advised the public to disregard the information in its entirety and report any such occurrences to the appropriate authority. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has set up a disciplinary panel to investigate 2 operatives accused of assaulting a woman during a raid on a hotel in Lagos on Thursday. Spokesman of the commission, Dele Oyewale, said in a statement in Abuja on Monday that the errant officers will appear before a panel set up by the EFCC chairman, Ola Olukoyede. He said Olukoyede ordered the arrest of the 2 officers and has directed them to appear before a joint team comprising the Appointments, Promotion and Disciplinary Committee and the Department of Ethics and Integrity. Olukoyede stressed that no stone will be left unturned in getting the officers to account for their unprofessional conduct. The officers were cited in a viral video assaulting the staff of the hotel in an early morning sting operation on Thursday. Still to come, Nigerian Air Force destroys illegal oil refining site in Rivers State, and auto crash claims 25 lives along Kano-Kaduna Highway. Join us again. Welcome back. You're watching Signature TV News. The Nigerian Air Force says it has destroyed several illegal oil refining sites in Rivers State and eliminated scores of terrorists in recent coordinated airstrikes. The Director of Public Relations and Information, Air Vice Marshal Edwards Gambwek, who discloses in a statement in Abuja, observed that the activities of oil thieves and economic saboteurs have become sophisticated. He said that the oil thieves had in most cases continued to find new ways of concealing their overhead tanks used in storing the stolen products from busted pipelines in the Niger Delta region. Gabquet further explained that the NAF and other security agencies have also stepped up their game with modern technology and hardware that enables them to detect and deter the activities of oil thieves and economic saboteurs. He disclosed that 4 boats were also sighted moving southwards with suspected illegally refined products were attacked and the boats destroyed. The Nigerian Air Force says its unmanned aerial vehicle, UAV, popularly known as drone, crashed in Kaduna on Monday morning and not its helicopter as earlier reported. The Director of Public Relations and Information, the Air Force, Air Vice Marshal Edwards Gabquet, made this known in a statement on Monday in Abuja. He said that contrary to reports on social media as well as on a handful of traditional media outlets that an NAF helicopter had crashed in Kaduna earlier today, July 1st, no helicopter crash actually occurred. Gapwet said the unmanned aerial vehicle experienced a mishap after takeoff for a mission at a location near Rumji village and about 15 kilometers from base, and that since it is unmanned vehicle, there were no casualties on board or on ground. He said that the preliminary investigation had since commenced to ascertain what might have caused the mishap and assured Nigerians that the minor setback would not in any way impinge on all ongoing operations. The anti-kidnapping unit of the police command in the Federal Capital Territory says it's rescued 2 female victims, 15-year-old Mart Ojadi and Evelyn Chinaza, age 12, who were kidnapped by gunmen in Guto village, Buari, on Sunday. Police Public Relations Officer for the command, Josephine Ade, disclosed in a statement that the police, in collaboration with DSS officials, tracked the kidnappers to Guaraca Forest, Niger State, and engaged them in a fierce gun battle, forcing the criminals to flee with injuries. He said the victims, who were forcefully taken to an unknown location by the kidnappers, were rescued unharmed and have since been reunited with their families. Ade said the officers displayed remarkable bravery, working in synergy with DSS officials, trailing and advancing on the assailants before they tactically ambushing them at Guaraca Forest in Niger State, bordering the FCT. And elsewhere, the Federal Road Safety Corps, FRSC, says about 25 persons died while 53 persons were injured in an accident that occurred along the Kano-Kaduna Highway on Monday. The Corps Public Relations or Public Education Officer, Olusegun Ogungbemide, said in a statement in Abuja on Monday that the crash involved a trailer conveying about 90 persons at about 3:15 a.m. Ogungbemide said that the accident was caused by speed violation that eventually led the vehicle to lose control, but that FRSC emergency and rescue team was able to rescue 12 persons without injury from the crash. He said the rescued victims have been taken to the Murtala Mohammed Specialist Hospital in Kano for proper medical attention, while the truck driver had been arrested and handed over to the police for further investigation and possible prosecution. And elsewhere, electricity consumers in Ondo and Ekiti State may be thrown into a 2-month power outage due to a planned repair by the Benin Electricity Distribution Company, BEDC. A public notice by Benin Electricity Distribution Company, BEDC, on X said the maintenance work would be carried out on the 132 kVA Akure Oshobo transmission line. According to BEDC, the upgrade will disrupt the power supply to Ondo and Ekiti states for 2 months. It indicated that the affected states would experience power outages that would last 9 hours daily, starting from Monday, July 1st to August 31st. The planned work it said involves the installation of optical ground wire and other activities that would require an outage on the affected network for safe working space. However, a spokesperson of the Transmission Company of Nigeria, Ndidimba, said on the TCN's X page on Monday that no such outage repair has been brought to the notice of the company or approved by the organization. Still to come, Japan's H3 rocket successfully releases radar satellite, and rescue teams battle raging wildfires in forests near Athens. Details of these and more after the break. Welcome back. You're watching Signature TV News. On a foreign scene, South Africans expressed mixed reactions on Monday following the announcement of the new cabinet by President Cyril Ramaphosa, which included former opposition leader John Steenhuisen of the Democratic Alliance as the Minister of Agriculture. The new cabinet comes as a result of the African National Congress, ANC's partnering with rival parties to maintain power after losing its majority for the first time in the 3 decades of the May 29th election. The reactions from citizens on the streets of Johannesburg to political analysts ranged from hopeful optimism to skeptical concern. Bradford Pedersen, a field hockey player, expressed a positive outlook on the diversification of the cabinet. However, Gomelomo Itumeleng, another hockey player, expressed reservations about the philosophical mix in the new cabinet.
Well, I think diverse group of people, our first diverse group of cabinet members, which means for our future, hopefully, it means that we are more inclusive within our views and our opinions of society. Also diverse group of individuals in terms of age range. So hopefully in our near future, we'll get to the envisioned age group of having young, enthusiastic individuals within Parliament and ruling the country.
I wasn't surprised about many of them. I do, there's a few that amuses me, like John Steenhuisen in agriculture. I don't know what he knows about agriculture apart from that you buy chickens in supermarkets. But I do understand why the DA fought for that. I think it's because they want to get some of the Freedom Front voters. That's one of the few growth points still for the DA.
There is also an interesting gambit that the president has played with the Department of Agriculture, Land Reform and Rural Development. If he had given John Steenhuisen that portfolio without splitting it, it would have fallen into that, sellout theme that his opponents in the ANC have been using to label him. However, he's now craftily separated land reform and rural development from agriculture, and in fact gave land reform to the PAC, a historic campaigner for land rights for Black people. And in doing so, he's managed, in my view, to quell the storm as far as, the characterization of his project as a sellout project.
The reshuffle saw Enoch Gondogwana retain his role as finance minister, with Ronald Lamola taking over international relations and cooperation, replacing Naledi Pandor. Gwede Mantashe remained as the Minister of Mineral and Petroleum Resources, although energy was removed from his portfolio, a move seen as an effort to reduce the perceived bias towards coal as a source of power generation. The leader of the British opposition Labour Party said on Monday that progressive parties across the world had to understand voters disaffected by mainstream politics in response to the gains made by Marine Le Pen's far-right National Rally (RN) in the first round of the French parliamentary election. Speaking at an election campaign event in Hitchin, 56 kilometers north of London, Keir Starmer said progressive parties such as his were the only parties able to meet the challenges posed by the rise of far-right parties. He said that they have to make progressive parties to understand why it is in the United Kingdom, after 14 years of chaos and failure, that people do feel disaffected with politics.
The lesson I take from that is that we need to address the everyday concerns of so many people in this country who feel disaffected by politics, who feel that on this Thursday feel either that the country's too broken to be mended, or that they can't trust politicians because of what the Tories have done after the last 14 years. We have to take that head on, and we have to show on Thursday in the United Kingdom and across Europe and the world that only progressives have the answers to the challenges that are facing us in this country and across Europe. We have to make that progressive cause, but we have to, in making that, understand why it is, certainly in the United Kingdom after 14 years of chaos and failure, that people do feel disaffected with politics, return politics to service, and continue to make that argument that
Britain will likely elect a centre-left government on Thursday as much of Europe swings right, including in France, where Marine Le Pen's far-right National Rally won the first round of a parliamentary election on Sunday. Opinion polls have consistently given Keir Starmer's centre-left Labour Party an around 20-point lead, with a support for right-wing reform potentially splitting the centre-right vote for the ruling Conservative Party and the centrist Liberal Democrats, further draining Conservative supports. Elsewhere, Japan's space agency JAXA on Monday successfully launched its third H-3 flagship rocket carrying a $200 million radar on satellite ALOS 4. The ALOS 4 is a disaster management land observation satellite that can monitor disaster heat areas and ground transformation that is also expected to help understand volcanic activity. The launch on Monday came after the first H-3 flights resulted in manual destruction and the loss of ALOS 3 last year in March. Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency JAXA and primary contractor Mitsubishi Heavy Industries plan for the H-3 to replace the 2-decade-old HIIA rocket, hoping that its lower costs and greater payload capacity will help them win launch orders from global clients. Hong Kong leader John Lee announced on Monday that China was gifting the former British colony a pair of giant pandas as the city marks 27 years since its return to Chinese rule. Lee and senior officials, including officials from the People's Liberation Army Hong Kong Garrison and the liaison office of the Central People's Government, raised a toast at the ceremony celebrating the handover anniversary. In his keynote address, Lee reviewed the government's achievements over the past 2 years, including efforts to safeguard harmony, stability, and economic progress. Britain returned Hong Kong to Chinese rule on July 1, 1997, under a one-country, two-systems formula, which guarantees wide-ranging autonomy and judicial independence not seen in mainland China. Critics say the promise has been eroded after China imposed a national security law on Hong Kong in June 2020, punishing acts of subversion, terrorism, collusion with foreign forces, and secession with possible life imprisonment, in addition to the arrests of scores of pro-democracy campaigners. Torrential rain in several cities across India caused severe flooding, rendering some residents to turn to boat services to commute in their waterlogged neighborhoods on Sunday. Locals in the northern Indian city of Moradabad waited patiently as boats moved slowly past partially submerged houses through a neighborhood inundated with floodwater. Meanwhile, people in the western states of Gujarat waded through heavily flooded streets to commute and carry out their daily task. In New Delhi, the death toll from this week's sudden heavy rain has climbed to 11, including 4 citizens who drowned in submerged underpasses while flight operations started in the Indian city. Greek firefighters were battling 2 wildfires near Athens on Sunday amid strong winds, just hours after managing to contain blazes in a mountainous area also near the capital, as well as on an island in the Aegean Sea. Dozens of firefighters in full gear, backed by water-carrying aircraft, fought to tame a fire in the community of Stamata, north of Athens, which burned a lush pine forest, sending columns of smoke over parts of the city. Teams also fought another fire in a sparsely populated area near the town of Karete, some 35 kilometers south of Athens. Authorities had ordered evacuations before flames from burning pine and olive trees engulfed houses. With hot, windy conditions across much of Greece, dozens of wildfires broke out over the weekend, and people were advised to stay away from forested areas. 4 executives from supermarket chains in Myanmar, including a Japanese joint venture officials, were arrested for selling rice at inflated prices as the war-torn country's ruling junta struggles to stabilize a spiraling economy. Those arrested included an executive from supermarket chain Aeon Orange, a joint venture between Japan's Aeon and Yangon-based Creation Myanmar, which identified the Japanese national as Kasamatsu Hiroshi. Authorities said they arrested 11 people, including rice traders and officials from rice mills and rice retailers, accusing them of inflating prices by 31% to 70% from prescribed levels, according to Myanmar media. Myanmar has been in turmoil since its military deposed an elected civilian government in February 2021, sparking widespread protests after that have escalated into a nationwide armed resistance. Amid escalating violence, poverty in the country is more widespread than at any time in the last 6 years, and labor shortages and a depreciating currency have made it harder to do business, according to the World Bank. Last month, the junta arrested at least 35 people, cracking down on gold and foreign exchange traders and agents selling foreign real estate as part of efforts to stabilize its rapidly depreciating currency. Meanwhile, Austria held a training session at the Berlin base camp on Monday as part of their preparations ahead of the round of 16 match against Turkey. More than a few eyebrows were raised when Austria hired manager Ralf Rangnick in 2022 after a miserable stint at Manchester United, but the 66-year-old German has turned Austria into Euro 2024 contenders and earned the nation's respect. Austria, one of the biggest stories of the tournament after upending tough opponents France and the Netherlands to win the group, played Turkey in the round of 16 on Tuesday. After a hard-fought 1-0 loss to World Cup runners-up France, Austria reeled off a 3-1 victory over Poland and a 3-2 win over star-studded Netherlands to clinch a knockout berth for only the second time. The Austria he now leads have a free-flowing, risk-taking style that has stood out for the more conservative group stage approaches of sides such as England and Belgium, and made them one of the most entertaining teams to watch. And as the news is hour, I'm Charles Pies. Thanks for watching. See you next time.